Welcome to Community Impact. My guest today is the executive director of an organization called Veterans Files. Her name is Rita Files, and she's here today to talk specifically about a benefit that's available to veterans that you may not know about. It's called the Non-Service Connected Disability Pension. The acronym is NSC. Now let's meet our guest again, Rita Files. Thank you so much, Rita, for being here.
Thank you for having me, Jay, and also providing this opportunity for me to be able to educate veterans and their families about this very important benefit that's available to our elderly veterans and surviving spouses of veterans from war periods gone by, so to speak.
Now, again, it's called the Non-Service Connected Disability Pension.
It is, and that's the name it's known in the Department of Veteran Affairs. That's the official name. Many folks refer to it as the VA benefit for aid and attendance. I like to give people the actual name of the benefit in the event that they're speaking to someone from the Department of Veteran Affairs or call the Department of Veteran Affairs. If they're calling the benefit by its correct name, it's easier for the person taking their call to understand what kind of information they're actually looking for.
Now what is the benefit?
The non-service disability pension benefit is available to those veterans who served our country for a minimum of 90 days, one of those days during wartime, age 65 or older, or the surviving spouse is 65 or older.
So it's available for their spouses as well?
A portion of the benefits available for surviving spouses as well,
okay.
And that they have a discharge other than dishonorable. And the purpose of the benefit is pretty simple. It's to supplement low or no income veterans or veterans that have high monthly out-of-pocket medical expense. Keeping in mind that these are veterans that are disabled not due to any service-related injury or illness, but just by the mere fact that they served their country well. Now that they're in their older years and they're starting to have some issues with their health or being able to live on their own or transportation issues, this benefit is out there to help supplement their income so they can afford to bring these services either into their home. It'll pay family caregivers. A lot of people don't know that. But with the right paperwork, a family member or friend who's an informal caregiver right now could become paid for that. I don't like to use the word compensated because I don't want to confuse it with the other major benefit for service-related compensation. That's a whole benefit in and of itself. This is not related to anything that occurred during your service time, just that you served your country and served your country well.
Now, do the vets know that this is available to them?
No, they don't. The last statistics that I read, there were about 11% of the veterans who were eligible for the benefit who were actually using the benefit. And I would have to say
11% are actually utilizing
it. The numbers are increasing a little bit, but not where you would, maybe 1% or 2%. And the whole problem is, where do you go to get the information? And where do you go to get the information as it relates to an elderly person's needs and what that family caregiver's needs actually are? They might call the Department of Veteran Affairs and use the common name of the benefit. I want some information about the Veterans Benefit for Aid and Attendance. The person answering the call might never have heard Veteran Benefit for Aid and Attendance because they know it by a different name. So they hang up the phone and that's that. They give up. There's not too much being done out there to educate our veterans from World War II, the Korean War, and Vietnam, that this benefit's out there. They could be eligible for it, and then, of course, the people to help them understand if they qualify or not. The purpose of the benefit is to supplement the veteran's income so that they can afford care and services that they need as they get older. It's not to preserve their wealth. So it's important that the person that's dealing with the veteran really have the veteran's interest as their number one priority. And some of the things that people should look for is if you talk to someone about, or they bring it up to you about a presentation for veteran benefits or this non-service connected disability pension, ask the person if they're accredited by the Department of Veteran Affairs to be able to provide assistance with the benefit.
Well, you know, that's an interesting point that you bring up, and I just want to expound on that a little bit because you have accreditation, right?
I do.
Now let's talk a little bit about you, about your personal history, or maybe I should say your professional history. Excuse me, getting into the personal. But tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay, I guess my love of the elderly and care for the elderly started about age 6 for me, when I was allowed out beyond the confines of my yard through the gate. And I had 3 friends in the neighborhood, old ladies, that I would go to the corner store for, and so on and so forth.
I love that.
Yeah, and you know, I call myself a serial caregiver, so I took care of them. And then
at the age of 6,
at the age of 6, and Mrs. Akins, God rest her soul, I'll never forget this woman. She was an elderly African American woman. When I first met her, she was 98. I saw her all the time going up the street to go to church every Sunday, all dressed in white, and thought she was the most beautiful person I've ever seen. She spent hours with me, telling me all her stories from the old South, and patience, answering my same question 21 times. So I had a very good example of patience, and I was able to use that patience with the other 2 cranky ones. So it was just a natural thing for me to, once I realized I wasn't going to be an actress, I decided, well, maybe I'd like to try to be a nurse. And I did. I went to nursing school. And my love was, again, for the elderly. So my career took me through different phases, and I went into administration and started working in the assisted living industry, which was a alternative to nursing. And I learned about this veteran benefit on the last day of one of my days of employment with a certain provider, and I just got the tail end of it, but it planted a seed. And I was like a dog with a bone ever since. And I found out what I could about the benefit from the source. And I was sending people to the Department of Veteran Affairs, and they called me back, "You're crazy, they said there is no benefit," so on and so forth. And then there was a situation where I felt I knew more at that point in time. I thought I had somebody I could trust, but I didn't believe that my veteran, his interests were the first priority. And I just got so annoyed and fed up. I said, well, I'm going to do it myself. It took me a few years to get through it because it's no easy feat. And I'm very proud of it, of the accreditation. But I applied to the Office of General Counsel in Washington, and they screen the application. You have to give references, and then you have to take their test. Oh my goodness. It's 25 multiple choice questions on thousands of regulations. And so a lot of work went into it, but I was that serious about it that I wanted to be able to give good information, not have any secondary agenda. I don't sell any financial products. I come from a care perspective. So I do care and resource consultation. And with it, I'm able to help a veteran who happens to be eligible and qualified to get this benefit. Because it's difficult to get through the process, but not impossible if you have the right information. And I've been doing it since 2009. And I just kind of made it my life's work. When I got my accreditation for the claims agent, when the letter came in the mail, I said to my husband, I'm in the Army now, because I had always had friends in the military. My 2 brothers served, my husband served, all Vietnam era, and utmost respect. So I feel like I can give something back. I couldn't contribute anything then, and I couldn't stop the injustices that I saw our veterans going through that were coming back from Vietnam. But now I feel like I can contribute, can make their life better. And they're number one. It can't be money, you, and then the veteran. It has to be the veteran first.
That's a wonderful story, really. You have a wonderful history, really, very rich. That particular statement you just said, it has to be the vet has to be primary. Do you feel that there's a lot of people helping vets, or at least pretending to help vets, and not really doing that?
Yes, I do.
So there's a lot of sharks in the water, so to speak.
There's tremendous amount of sharks in the water, and
Yeah.
they're starting to become exposed. And, you know, there are, I work with some fine financial planners and fine elder law attorneys, and I mean, they feel the same way about the situation as I do. And that's why when I say to folks, just make sure the person that you're dealing with and that you're giving all this information to is accredited through the Department of Veteran Affairs. And this can be easily checked on the va.gov website or on veteranfiles.com. There's a link there, right, to do a search. So the person that you're interacting with and who's taking this information from you, if they're not there, it can't be, oh, well, we have an attorney in St. Louis. He's our, no, that's not how it works. The person who's actually dealing with you has to be accredited. And when I say accredited, in the Department of Veteran Affairs, it's accreditation. In the outside, in the civilian world, it would be licensed, actually. Licensed and authorized to speak to someone about their benefits. Mm. And there are a lot of scams out there, a tremendous amount of scams. They're doing, using the VA benefit to bring their message to large groups of senior veterans or surviving spouses. For example, a senior living community, assisted living community that's doing a free presentation. And, I'm sorry to say, they're trying to get at the assets of the folks that live in these senior living communities, assisted living communities, because there's a certain amount of wealth that's involved to be able to reside in a majority of them. So they're really trying to get at the assets. And I know this and I feel this because I have the folks that went to one of the presentations, and when it was found out they had no assets of any significance, they were just given a form, a VA form to fill out and submit. So there was no help, no, organizing all of the paperwork and documentation. It was they were left on their own. And if they truly had the veterans' interests first, they would make sure that that person gets what he needs. Mm-hmm. And, and there's some sad situations out there. Some of our elderly vets living on peanuts. And if they just get the basic part of this pension benefit, it makes the world a difference in their quality of life. And I get a Christmas card from the guy. You think he hit the lottery, and all he got was an additional $385 from the Department of Veteran Affairs. To him, that was huge.
That could make or break you sometimes.
That can.
Yeah. And again, these are our vets, these guys, these gals. They are so deserving of everything that they could possibly get. Rita, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We are talking to Rita Files. She is the Executive Director of Veteran Files, and we're specifically talking about a benefit called the Non-Service Connected Disability Pension, the NSE. And if you are a veteran over 65, you may be eligible for that. So we're going to come back and we're going to talk more about that. Stay with us.